You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, Betsy.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Well, thank you. Happy Monday.
Ah, yes. Happy Monday of October. Busy month
I
for you, right?
know.
Yeah.
It's a busy, crazy month. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
did you ever think when you did The Evil Dead, did you ever think, oh my God, I'm gonna hate October for the rest of my life?
No, actually, October is one of my favorite months, but that's a very funny statement. That's
Oh,
very clever.
oh, thank you, thank you. So I was doing a little research, and before I get into the questions, I wanted to ask you, do you think it's easier to be interviewed by somebody who's like also in the celebrity game or just like a random folk?
Oh, I listen, I have been asked the most interesting questions by a 4-year-old, by an 84-year-old, celebrity, non-celebrity. They're all good questions.
Oh, yeah. Because I like it because not to brag or anything, but I'm a F-list celebrity. So, you know, I feel like I kind of bond, you know what I mean? Where like I'm not just like fanboy-ish. So I just wanted to give you that.
I knew you were a celebrity. I
Oh,
absolutely knew you were a celebrity.
oh, excellent. Okay, cool. So I was doing my research, and one of the things about research is you never know if stuff is true on the internet. And it said that you did radio voiceovers when you were first starting, and I wanted to know like if that's true, and if so, how do you get into doing that?
I don't actually know how true that is. I do voiceovers now, but I don't know if I recall ever doing just sort of radio voiceovers. When I first started, I was living in the Detroit area.
Yeah.
And yes, I did radio voiceovers, radio ads basically is what they were. And I would be called by my agent when I was living in Detroit, by my Detroit agent, and say, hey, they want you to, do 30 seconds on the latest Ford model or the latest Thunderbird or the latest Buick. And so I would go into this well-known recording studio in Detroit, and I'd record them.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm like a huge fan of because I feel radio is dead. You know what I mean? Like I feel for some reason it's just gone, and maybe podcasting has replaced it. But I like the old radio days where you could tell jokes on the radio and have a script, and then you have to use your imagination. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. It's storytelling. We all remember, even as young as you are or as old as I am, pictures of your families sitting around the radio back in the 30s and the 40s. That was their evening entertainment. I mean, you think back and that there's nothing like it, and it is like the modern day podcast, quite frankly.
Yeah. I saw a picture of my grandfather, like he was by a radio like a long time ago, and he wasn't laughing, and I just thought to myself, oh, this guy had no taste in good radio.
No, 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 no. He was probably totally immersed in the story or whatever. Listen, my dad. I remember two of the very first radios I had. One was a little, battery. I'm not battery powered. You plugged it in. It was a little plastic red radio, and I used to listen to all the hits by Petula Clark and Herman's Hermits and stuff like that when I went to bed. And my father actually built Heathkit radios.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, you know Heathkit.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
My dad built Heathkit radios, Heathkit televisions, and he built a radio that was a portable battery radio that I just adored. I wish I still had. I wish I still had it, and it was inside like a faux leather case with a handle, and you could take it anywhere, and I just loved it.
Wow. Don't you wish that show Tank was alive like back in that day? Because you could pitch it. You could be like, hey, this is a radio.
I love Shark Tank, so yes.
Yeah. But I don't know if you were here, but I mean I wanted to go, but I kind of got under the weather. But HorrorCon was last night at the
Yeah.
Los Angeles. Do you ever go to the HorrorCon?
We were there last year, just a year ago.
Oh,
So I did not go as a customer this year, but we were there last year. It's a great convention. We're going to be appearing at another convention in the next couple of weeks in the Burbank area. So
Oh, that'd be awesome.
a lot of times convention promoters and such, they, kind of skip a few years so that they can give the fans, a variety every year. So we were there last year, but not this year.
Oh,
How was it? Was it fabulous?
I didn't go. I got sick.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
So, I was actually looking forward to it because I've never been to a convention like that, like, honestly. So I wanted to see how cool it would be, and I was going to say, hey, I should be in this convention too. I'm on the radio.
Absolutely. Well, you should come to Monster Palooza in October.
I definitely want to. That would be awesome. But how is that? Like what exactly do you do? Do you just sign a whole bunch of autographs and like hear people's how you change their life by making them not fall asleep stories? Or
You're kind of right. I mean, we actually meet the fans. We have a great time doing it. Every fan has a story, and it usually involves when I was really young, or it involves when I was a teenager, or it involves my grandmother let me watch this when she was babysitting when I was 7, and I've been changed forever. We also do panels and Q&A sessions, and the Ladies of the Evil Dead, Teresa Tilly and I, we give out prizes, and we give out, little raffle prizes and trivia prizes. Not every panel does that. Not every group of celebrities or people that appear at conventions or do Q&As do that, but we always have a special treat up our sleeves.
Well, we should let the folks at home know that's how I got you on the podcast, because I won the interview with Betsy Baker.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but congratulations.
I was like, But so like I wanted to like role play, like, because like you do like you hear fans from stories. So I'll be a fan, you be Betsy, all right?
Okay.
And then we're at Comic-Con.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Betsy. I just want you to know I'm a huge fan, and Evil Dead changed my life forever.
Well, that's really nice to hear. Can I ask you if did it change it for the worse or for the better?
It changed it for the worse because now I could never date a girl named Linda.
Well, there's a lot of other girls' names out there, so have at it and enjoy. But I'm glad you liked the movie, I think.
Yeah, and this is my girlfriend Ashley.
That's very funny.
Thank you. Excellent. So I actually really did love the Evil Dead movie, but I was just making a joke. So I wanted to ask you, like, how was that script when you got it? Like, because I also write scripts. I know scripts back in the olden days, they probably have more detail and stuff compared to scripts now. And I wanted to know, how is a Evil Dead script like that?
Ironically, this script was very different from what you described. I have the script right here in this room.
Do you really? Oh my God.
The script that we received was much more generic. It was much more during our shooting. And I think it wasn't called improv back there. We didn't, term it as improv. It was like, let's fill in the blanks. Or I know it says, Betsy, that you're going to run across the room, but do we have, oh no. Are we there?
I see you.
Are we still good?
Yeah. I see you.
The script may have said Linda runs across the room toward Ash, but what we really did is a long drawn out choreography, maybe 2 or 3 minutes long and 5 hours in the making, of Linda running across the room, attacking Ash with a sword and having a fight with him next to the bookcase, which then falls down on him, and Linda laughs uproariously. So the script that we all received was not in detail at all.
Really? Wow. Yeah. That's very interesting.
It was an adaptation of what you see on the screen.
Yeah. So was it like they were kind of writing it as they were shooting it, or like was it like was it already written and they said, okay, this is the idea? And then,
I mean, definitely it was written. Sam wrote it, and I'm sure he wrote it 950 times.
Yeah.
But when you get a collaboration of, young actors and friends that are working on the film with you, and you say, well, we've got a couple of hours before it gets dark. What if we do this? And Sam might respond, yeah, no, Betsy, that's not going to work. But there were many times when people would say, what about if we do this? And he said, well, that's not going to work into the script. And then, we have to get in the car. Okay, well, park the car over there and then we can do it. So there was a lot of collaboration. For instance, there have been many questions why the Linda character didn't end up in the movie as being demonized physically with a prosthetic mask and everything. Yeah. And actually I was fitted and I was painted all up with a mask, and there was a mask made of me. And if you look very, very, very closely as Bruce is hauling Linda out by her feet, there's a quick shot of me being dragged along the floor, and I have the mask on, and they couldn't cut that out. But at beginning of shooting, it just wasn't working. Linda being so horribly mean and demonizing, as opposed to her character, which was this sickening, sweet, girlfriend of Ash. Yeah. And Sam and I sat down and had a talk one night, late at night, while they were moving props or, trying to heat up the cabin. And I said, what if you try and make her even sweeter than she already is? He said, well, how can you do that? And I said, well, you could actually maybe paint her face like a baby doll with big bright cheeks and, paint eyelashes on her and have her have this sweet little soft, sickening voice with this sweet giggly laugh. He said, well, like what? And so we played around with it for a few minutes. And I said, well, what if I started to just laugh like this?
Yeah.
Like a little giggle. And he said, oh my God, that drives me crazy. Yes, let's try it. So Linda actually, after a long collaboration one night, Linda became this demonized character, but without the physical, mask that Tom Sullivan, our special effects guy, had made for me.
Yeah. So you guys got rid of Tom on that scene.
Got rid of Tom on that scene, but he was with us the entire movie. So.
But no, you're absolutely right, because there is something more scary about sweet people who, you know what I mean, who are like, I don't know, like I saw this movie called The Shining when I was a kid, and these two little girls who just showed up while this kid was like riding a bicycle. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Shining, but those two girls always scared the crap out of me, and they were just girls,
sweet as two pumpkin pies.
Yeah. Okay, that was a bad joke. I won't do that one for next year. But so the makeup was very intense. And so like before you said, hey, I don't want to do this makeup scene, like how is the process on that? Did it take like a long time? Because back then, I'm sure they really, really put more effort in makeup than they do now because CGI and stuff,
We had no CGI back then, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like now,
we had no other makeup person except Tom Sullivan. So it was brilliant of Tom and Sam and Bruce and Rob to say, this has got to be done every night. After once we start filming, they have to obviously look the same. We don't have a big crew, and they've got to look the same every night. So we made prosthetic, silicone masks or plaster masks, and then, rubber masks. And they smelled horrible. They felt horrible. They stuck on our skin horribly, but you got the same demon every night of shooting. Yeah. That was a process that actually took place, the making of the mask, down in Sam Raimi's parents' basement, because Sam was living at home. Yeah. And that was sort of his little office down there. And one weekend we all went and had plaster masks made of all of us, so that they could then be painted in Tom's studio and then used throughout the filming. Wow. So the other thing that was very time consuming, because there was no CGI, it was just stop motion, was the time when my leg gets infected after the pencil bite. And Tom Sullivan had to meticulously paint each one of those veins. It took hours. I'm sure I fell asleep or took a little cat nap while he was painting that leg that night. That was an entire night of filming.
Yeah, that was a question I actually was going to ask you. Are you glad that you got infected with the pencil and not a pen?
Well, I don't know.
Because the ink would have got in your,
Well, what about the lead in the pencil?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, like ink is
I was actually just
permanent.
glad at the end of the shoot that it was just a fabulous effect and I could wash it all off. That's for sure.
That's a good point. So after you finished filming it, because The Evil Dead, it seemed like it was a movie that became a hit like a year after it came out. Like people started to get on, you know what I mean? So it seemed like it was a movie where the video rentals really made it a hit. So like, how was that? Like, did you know that, you were doing something very special?
I personally had no idea, and I wasn't at the premiere in Detroit. I was actually in another city. I think I was in Portland doing an auto show.
Oh,
I was on the turntable. I was narrating for a particular car, and I couldn't come back to do the premiere, so I missed all the hoopla, all the excitement. But at the same time, life moved on, and it had a very small showing, nationwide. There weren't a lot of movie theaters that wanted to show such a horror movie.
right.
And you're absolutely right. It was the birth of the video stores, and movies like The Evil Dead became a huge beneficiary of that, because you and I, when a movie, I've said this before, and panels and Q&As and discussions at conventions, even when you and I were growing up, you watched a movie once at the local theater, and then you hopefully watched it before Sunday, because that's usually when it left town,
Right.
and moved on to another city. And you maybe had the opportunity to watch it once, maybe twice, if you were just really a huge fan. Once video stores came, you could rent it on a Monday and keep it for 2 weeks and just pay the fines like a library book. And you could watch it every single night. You could invite all of your friends over one night, watch it by yourself the next night, get up the next morning and have your breakfast and watch it. Not just Evil Dead, any movie. But Evil Dead was definitely a beneficiary of the value of the local video store, and the fact that it was one of the first times that it could come to your home and watch it infinitely.
Yeah. And like, it's also weird because like,
I think it's a word. Infinite.
Yeah, it is definitely a word. But like, it's also like the video stores, like how you said you could rent on Monday and keep it for 4 days, or you could rent on Monday and keep it forever. Did I lose you? Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
Ah, excellent. Cool. Excellent. Cool.
Oh, we're back and forth. I'm so sorry. We're back and forth. I don't know what's happening.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the Zoom curses. I don't know.
Might be the Zoom curse.
Should I ask my question again in case you didn't get it?
Ask it again.
Okay. So it's funny how like you were saying how like you could rent a movie on Monday and then return it on a Wednesday, or you could rent on Monday and keep it forever.
That's right. That's a statement, not a question. And I have a feeling you were the latter.
Yeah. I know the difference.
I know you know the difference. I can tell you know the difference.
I was just trying to be stupid, I guess. I don't know. But then the Evil Dead 2, I heard they went up to you and they said, "Hey Betsy, we got this great script called Evil Dead 2, and we want you to do it." And you said, "Oh, that's cool, but I'm pregnant," or something.
That's right. Actually, the first time that when I was asked to do Evil Dead or Evil Dead 1, we all met at a restaurant in Detroit, and they asked me if I was interested in maybe looking at a script or coming in to audition for Evil Dead. And the rest is history. About 4 or 5 years later, we were all living in the Los Angeles area, and I got a call and was asked to see if I could meet for breakfast with Bruce and Sam and Rob, and we had pretty much the same exact discussion. But when I walked in, I was hiding it pretty well. I had no idea what they wanted to talk about.
Right.
And so they said, well, we have Evil Dead 2 and we have Linda. We want Linda to come back. We know she died. We know that she's gone in Evil Dead, but we want her to come back in another form. And pardon me, we'd really like you to do it. And here's when we're shooting. And would you be interested? I said, I'd be interested, but I'm not going to do it. And then I said, you know, guys, I'm married and we're going to have a baby at that same month, same time. It just wasn't possible. So they still bought me breakfast, but I couldn't do the movie.
Oh my God. I would have said I would love to do it, but Linda's going to have to be pregnant in this.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, I didn't even add that because just because of the safety factions that did not exist during Evil Dead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to put anybody, including my unborn child, at harm. So I just didn't even offer that.
Yeah, that now that you say that, that's smart.
And by the way, nor did they.
Oh, okay. Well, now that you say that, that's smart. I wasn't putting in the safety concerns, but you know, because I do stand up. There's no safety in stand up. You know, so you could do stand up when you're pregnant or whatever. So I thought it was like the same thing. You could do Evil Dead 4 when you're pregnant. I don't know.
Right.
But so I don't know if this is true, but is it true that you were Bruce Campbell's first on-screen kiss?
That is true.
Oh my God.
That is true. From what I understand, unless he's got something, you know, going on underground that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
They had done a movie. It was sort of like a trailer or a treatment of Evil Dead called In the Woods, but I don't think he kissed anybody in that movie.
Yeah. Wow. So that's got to be like, you know, you could always say like, hey, not only am I in this great movie called The Evil Dead, but I was Bruce Campbell's first on-screen romance kiss.
Oh yeah, and believe me, I've said it.
Oh my God! Wow, it's pretty cool. So after, you know, so obviously you started a family and stuff, and you're in the show business. How did you like stay like in it? Like, did you do something that was still kind of show businessy to keep your name in the doors? Because now you did True Rome, you know, and then
my name for many years, my name was not in the door whatsoever. I mean, I think we shot it in 79 and 80, and it didn't come out till 82. And by that time, all of us were doing other things. Life had just moved on. We just didn't even know if it even existed finished in the can. And remember, we didn't have cell phones or computers. There was really no way of communicating with each other unless you, quote, wrote a letter and sent it in the US mail, or tracked your phone number down by calling your parents somewhere and saying, well, where does Betsy live now, or whatever? How can I reach her?
Yeah.
And then in the 80s and the 90s, I basically, I continued to do some work in the Detroit area. I did great, I have to say great, because I think the people that were in it were great, CBS Movie of the Week that was shot in the Detroit area with Carl Malden and Rue McClanahan and John Marley and Ron Silver and John Malkovich. And
oh my God, I love John Malkovich.
Yeah, and that was really fabulous. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and I was working, and then I got married and had children. So my husband and I made the conscious effort for me to stop so I could raise a family. And I also had another business that I was tending to pretty much all the time while I was raising our children. And there was a remake or a remastering or redigitalizing of Evil Dead back in early 2000 or late 2001. And I was asked to go to American Cinematheque's showing of it at the Egyptian Theater in Los Angeles. And I sat next to Rob Tappert, and we talked and had a lovely evening together. And Teresa Tilley was there. Rob had sort of said to me, why aren't you in the business anymore? And I basically said the same thing. I said, I raised a family. I do this, I do that now. And, you know, he said, but your kids are in high school. You should come back. Yeah. And within a few months, Teresa and I and Ellen Sandweiss, who plays Cheryl, we formed Ladies of the Evil Dead, and we started going on conventions. And I started back, quote, in the business. I had taken a long break. And so for the last 15 years or so, I've been really fortunate in playing just older character roles.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's I have to say it's tons of fun. I'm doing voiceovers again, and foreign voice dubbing and commercials and film and TV, and we're still doing conventions, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I was gonna say, because if sitcoms were still around, right? Because they're dead too. But if I ever got a sitcom, I would say Betsy Baker has to be my mom, because I think like that would be,
Go get that sitcom.
yeah. I think that would be great, because I would be like saying, stupid stuff that doesn't make sense, and then Betsy Baker will be like, "I'm his mom." I don't know, something like that.
Well, that's very nice of you, and yes, I'll accept the role.
Oh, excellent. Cool. I don't even have to pitch it to you. This is
No,
great.
you don't have to pitch it.
Yeah, I'm like the world's worst pitcher. And I think that's because, when you do comedy, you'll see, like, the business thinks comedians are just like they're not real entertainers. You know what I mean? Like, they think that because they think all they do is tell jokes. But if you think about it like this, some of the best actors are actually comedians. So, like, you gotta learn like that, like Jim Carrey or whatever. So
I would agree.
yeah, but as soon as I can.
When do we start?
We're gonna start now after this stupid strike thing. You know what I mean? We're gonna put it on the YouTube and get millions of hits.
Okay.
It's gonna be called the Podcast of Evil Dead.
Oh, I thought it was going to be called something like Mom Show.
Oh, Mom Show. We could change it to Mom Show. That's cool. But so is this true? I heard you also did teaching. Were you a teacher?
I was a teaching consultant. I actually got my teaching certificate from Michigan State University. Go Green, go Spartans. And for many years, I did not teach. And it was actually one of my son's teachers that heard, when he was in 4th or 5th grade, heard that I at one time was a professional singer. And at that time, the teachers in that age group, that grade, said, would you come in and teach our kids some songs just on a weekly basis?
Yeah.
And it turned into a 23-year career with a school district here in Los Angeles. And I taught at the most at 5 different schools. I was seeing 1,500 to 1,700 kids a week.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really fulfilling. It was a lot of work. But, and the great thing is that I think the kids really loved it. They really craved having music and that release and learning new songs, and the power of learning music and memorizing songs and performing. It just gave them, a huge empowerment and a huge self-esteem. And I really, really, really enjoyed it.
I think music is one of those subjects in schools that they have to continue teaching it, because
Absolutely.
I think that you learn more in subjects that you don't use every day. You know what I mean?
It's a community effort. It's discipline. It uses a lot of math. It uses a lot of rhythms and beats. And our world is made up of rhythms and beats. Our heart, it starts with your heart. And it's just, you can sing and speak and sing in many different languages and not even realize you're doing it. And it really, it feeds your endorphins in your body. And it was really a lot of fun. I really, really miss it, but I had a good time doing it when I did.
Yeah. And also, like, it also teaches kids that aren't good at music that you could still be successful at music by going on America's Got Talent and get like ridiculed, but you'll have a career forever.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. I wanted to ask you, you did an episode of True Blood, which was one of my favorite TV shows when I was a young teenager. And I wanted to know, like, what was that like? Because that's like a fucking cool show.
It was actually really a lot of fun. I was only on the set for one day. I was a midwife. I don't even remember the name of, I remember the name of the episode or when we shot it, but I was giving encouragement to a young mother who was about to give birth. And a lot of it was cut.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, then they brought me in for ADR into a studio, which is additional dialogue recording. So they cut my scene a lot. Apparently she had the baby really quickly. And but they wanted more words of encouragement from me. So it was like it was a plethora of opportunity,
Yeah.
working on True Blood. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like words of encouragement. I like that. Like be like,
Yeah.
all right. So it's gonna be the hardest hour of your life, and in 9 months you get to do it again.
Yeah. And then it turned out to be 25 seconds. So
Oh,
but it was because of my words of encouragement.
yeah. And then forgive me because I've never seen this, but I heard you were on ER.
Yeah. That was another one day of very important. Somebody I think was flatlining in the emergency room, and they needed to call they needed many doctors and nurses had already been in to see this patient with no luck, and they said, well, call nephrology. So I ran in and said, I'm Dr. Wheeler, head of nephrology. What's going on?
That was awesome. Oh, was I supposed to be the sick patient? I don't know.
Oh, you can't be, because remember, you've just flatlined.
Oh, right. Ah,
So the other doctors around the table told me what was going on, which basically set up the whole story and the rest of the plot. And but so they're done with me. They were done with me. I had come in and introduced the next doctor, Dr. Wheeler. Dr. Wheeler, head of nephrology. What's going on? And that was it. But I played it to a T.
was this a George Clooney ER days, or was it
George
after?
was not there that day. I think he was down the hall at another ER room,
Oh my God.
maybe delivering the True Blood baby. I have no idea, but George was not there.
What's interesting about all these like hospital shows is like, I don't know if you're a big fan of these hospital shows, but I feel like they just never end. You know what I mean? Like I feel like,
Well, they don't, because people continually either get ill or slice their finger while making spaghetti or something. And so
yeah,
there's always something going on at a hospital.
yeah, but it's just how many times do we have to see an episode about someone who has pink eye? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's a good point.
Yeah. And then it said that you just got done working with Tyler Perry.
I did. I worked for a Tyler Perry production. Again, I never met Tyler Perry, but I flew down to Atlanta and worked on a show of his, assisted living. It's called Tyler Perry's Assisted Living, which was a wonderful experience. I played a Southern girl, a Southern old lady whose father had gone into assisted living, and she didn't feel that he should be there, and he just needed to get his bags together and skedaddle out of there with her. And that was a great experience.
How was the set? Because I've heard nothing but great things about his studio.
His entire studios are immense and amazing. And we worked in a studio. Our studio was the entire set of assisted living, which was, a kitchen, a living room, a lobby, all in one long stretch. But the building, the facilities, the grounds just went on forever, and it was just amazing. It was truly impressive.
Oh, cool. Well, I have 3 more questions, and I want to respect your time. There was this video game called Evil Dead, and you came back.
I did.
And you were Linda again. So like, how was that like, where you're bringing the character back? You know what I mean? Like,
it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I was not only Linda, but I was the narrator in a number of cases, and a number of screams and a number of moans that people aren't aware of. And when we did that, it was a couple of years ago, and a lot of times you don't know the premise of the story, especially in a video game, because the story can go so many places. So they just said, okay, Betsy, in this one we just need a scream like a bat out of hell. Give us 4 of those, and they'll pick one, and or Betsy, as the narrator now, tell them to get out of there quick. So there's a number of ways you can say get out of there quick.
Right.
Or
yeah.
Get out of there. So that's what we did. So, but
that was a don't lot of turn around. I don't know.
Or as your mom would say in our new show, why in God's green earth would you have gone in there in the first place?
Oh my God, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm telling you, Betsy Baker, guys, come on. So I'm still debating. I think we should make you a series regular, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think I should live at home.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that the title of the show is Mom's Show, yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what it has to be.
About Mom.
Yeah, that would be great. We gotta think of it like someone really cool to play my dad and your husband, though. Like, who would you pick? And you can't pick your real husband. That would be awkward.
Oh, not to worry.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I guess the question goes further. Who would you pick as your dad?
So I got 2 in mind. Jake Weber, because I think he's fantastic and he's actually really funny, but he doesn't know he's funny.
Okay.
And then John Cusack, but John Cusack hates me. So I don't think he'll do it.
That could be actually a really nice dynamic there, quite frankly. Although I think I'm older than both.
It doesn't matter. Age is just a number.
That would be awkward.
Okay. All right. So then 2 more questions.
Okay.
One.
All right. Well,
Betsy.
I'll think about that. Who would play?
Yeah, we'll get an answer before we wrap up. But this is actually a think.
Oh, I just
question.
do.
What's this? I lost you, Betsy. Can you see me?
I'm ready, but I'm back. I'm here. I've always been here.
Oh, excellent. Cool.
I can see you.
I can see you. All right. So this question is okay. So this question is, if you could go in a time machine and talk to a younger version of Betsy Baker and tell her what you know now. It could be Betsy from tomorrow, it could be Betsy from you're 9 or whatever. What age would you go and what would you say to her?
Oh, that's too hard a question. That's too hard a question. I would say, gosh, probably 6 or 7, when, a 6 or 7-year-old really first comes to the reality of like, whoa, I'm living here, I'm getting older, and 3rd grade is coming up. And whatever you do, do not shoplift.
Oh, were you a big shoplifter?
Oh. I have no idea, but that's what one of the things I would say.
Oh my God. I was going to say, we just got juicy scoop, big shoplifting problems. I'm so glad you said that and you didn't say, don't do Keith Reza's podcast.
No, I wouldn't have ever said that.
Oh, excellent. And then,
not as your mother.
Oh, thank you so much. And then where can the folks at home follow and support you? Oh
gosh, I'm on Facebook. Betsy Baker. I really don't do Twitter or Instagram yet, but when I do, I'll let you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a website. It's betsybaker.net, but it's really old and outdated. So
we gotta get you an assistant.
I've done a lot more since 2015. I need an assistant. Oh yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah. I mean, I would submit myself for the job, but I'm the world's worst assistant. So
okay. So I'll take a pass on that. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I have assistant experience, but I mean, I'm more into like, because after we become friends, I'm more into not working. You know what I mean?
I got it. And I really love the clarity there, and I'm sincerely appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go do your website. And then we're going to be friends. I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it next year.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that heads up.
Okay, cool. Have you thought of anyone for your husband yet?
Well, no, we've been talking the entire time. What about Bryan Cranston? He's already been the father in so many things.
I think you just said him because you want to kiss him.
What about Bruce? Nah, he'd never do it.
What? He would never do it? Oh my God. I bet you he would
Wouldn't that
do
be a
it.
good answer? Wouldn't that be a good answer?
Yeah, I bet you Bruce would do it because you could say, hey, he loved you in Serving Sarah. And that would like totally turn off his mind because he probably gets all these compliments on Evil Dead or, all that stuff. And then when you name a movie that no one's ever seen, he'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I could say, what can I say about Bubba Hotep, Bruce?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Betsy, have a great day. And thank you so much for talking to me. It meant the world to me. And I love
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. Send me those scripts and we'll get started on it.
All right, let's do it. Have a good
All
day,
right.
Betsy.
Thank you. You too.
All
Bye-bye
right,
now.
guys. That was an interview with Betsy Baker. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, and we'll see you guys next week on Reza Riffs.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.